I put on a toboggan or a winter hat. Do you guys say toboggan? Is that normal? It's cold in the garage in January. I'm here to talk about my most anticipated movies of 2026. The funny thing about that is I'm recording it on January 16th of that year. So the good news is nothing's really come out so far this year that I was super anticipatory of, but there are some coming out at the end of this month that I did include in my list here that I'll talk about when I come up to them. So a couple ground rules here for my most anticipated. I thought, well, I can do a tier list, where I drag and drop and do all that stuff, but I'm not going to do that. Then I thought, well, I can do a countdown, my least most excited one all the way down to my most excited release of this year. But I'm not really going to do that either. And then I was like, you know what? I did a slideshow and some graphics. So to make it easy, I'll just do alphabetical or release date. But then like a third of the titles or maybe a quarter of the titles don't really have an official release date yet. So I'm like, well, I can't really do that. And alphabetical is kind of lame if you guys are tracking, making a watch list for the year. So long story short, I said, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them into 3 tiers based on my level of excitement. There's 50 movies that I'm going to give you guys to put on your radar that are among some of the 50 that I'm most excited about, at least that I was able to research and find. I put as much information on these slides for you as I could, and I'm also planning on making a letterboxed list for this. I would drop that down below in the description. Make sure you follow me on Letterboxd, and also you can click the link to the actual list itself, and you can see the movies that I'm shouting out here. On the list, I'll just put them in whatever order Letterboxd puts them in. And the last bit of housekeeping, I'm going to group them in the 3 tiers that I was talking about. It's going to be red, yellow, and green. If you are in that red group, I am dangerously interested, devilishly intrigued. I didn't know what to use for red, but it's not like bad. It's just I'm interested, but I don't really have enough to go on yet to be like super excited, like, oh my God, I'm there. Whereas if you're in the yellow tier, then you are a high priority for me. You're already on my watch list on Letterboxd. I'm already checking for showtimes, that kind of thing. If you are in the green tier, I am seated on day 1, or in some cases, if there's an early screening, basically as soon as is humanly fucking possible, I'm going to be seeing your movie immediately. I'm going to be the Iowa Debris meme or tweet. What was that she did? That thing. I'll be seated immediately. Now, those will all be distinguished on each slide by the movie slate, red, yellow, or green, and I'll keep that little legend, or I'll have it pop up occasionally throughout the video too to remind you guys of where I'm sitting at on these 50 movies. So we'll kind of progressively work our way from kind of excited to holy shit, when can I fucking see this? All right, so let's bring the slideshow in here for you guys. Love Is Not the Answer is a new movie, the directorial debut from Michael Cera. Guys, if you know me, I fucking love Michael Cera. Like, I am infatuated with that dude. He is so charismatic, so charming. I literally don't even need to hear anything else about this movie. The reason it's in the red is because that's really the only thing that really jumps out at me about this is I just am really interested to see how Michael Cera directs a film. It says plot details are under wraps, but it's being described as a precise yet unpredictable absurdist comedy that moves between hilarity and heartbreak, and it explores modern loneliness and the search for connection. It does star Pamela Anderson, which I find very interesting. It doesn't look like Michael Cera's in it himself, so he's just directing it with Steve Coogan and Lucas Hedges, who I also love. So, a rom-com directed by Michael Cera. I'm into it. Next up would be a movie called Flesh of the Gods. This is one where I'm like excited for it. Obviously, it's on the list, but I'm just like, what the hell is this? A married couple descend each evening from their luxury skyscraper condo to venture into the electric nighttime realm of 1980s LA. When they cross paths with a mysterious and enigmatic woman, she and her hard-partying cabal, what is that? Group, I guess? Initiate the couple into a glamorous, surrealistic world of Hinduism, thrills, and violence. Now, it's directed by Panos Cosmatos, which is the director of Mandy, which was the fucking fever dream starring Nicolas Cage. That was the movie version of that meme. Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that movie was really fucking crazy. So it's the same director, and it sounds like it's going to be hot, right? Like sexy. There's like vampire fangs on the poster, so maybe the nightlife in LA in the 80s, it's another, Lost Boys kind of vibe. I don't know. But Kristen Stewart and Elizabeth Olsen with Oscar Isaac, who also is pretty sexy, are apparently, I don't know who the wife of Oscar Isaac is, a married couple, and then you have the hard-partying mysterious woman. I'm really interested to see if that's Elizabeth Olsen or if that's Kristen Stewart. Either way, I'm fucking in. Next up is, to check the title on this one, is a movie called Bucking Faster. I am fascinated by this when I started reading about it. Oh my God. The story of two inseparable twin sisters, Joan and Jean. I don't know why they put that in air quotes, by the way. Is that their names or not? They live on the fringes of society. The film is inspired by the British identical twins, Freda and Greta Chaplin, who had a brief tabloid notoriety in the early 80s when they became sexually infatuated with their next-door neighbor, a lorry driver who eventually took out a restraining order against them. By the way, I Googled this. This is real. So you have real-life sisters, not twins, but real-life sisters Rooney and Kate Mara, Hugh O'Connor and Orlando Bloom, by auteur filmmaker Werner Herzog. No release date on it yet. I don't even know if the studio is going to touch this thing. This is like one of those movies where it's like, I feel like I'm going to have to see this movie to believe that it even exists. Bucking Faster with the Mara sisters. Fucking let's go, dude. I'm ready. All right, next up is a movie called Ladies First. I've been putting down at the bottom the gauge for like awards potential. So far, nothing on here really screams awards potential to me. That's why a lot of these are still that way on the meter. But there are going to be some on here, I promise you. So this is a rom-com from Netflix. That scares me right away. But it does have Sacha Baron Cohen, Richard E. Grant, Emily Mortimer, and Rosamund Pike, who fucking turns up and turns out. A unrepentant womanizer finds himself in a parallel world dominated by women. A fiery female counterpart makes things even more complicated for him. I'm hoping that's Rosamund Pike in that role, because she can play a cold-hearted bitch like I've never seen. That's a compliment, by the way. I'm not calling her a bitch. I Want Your Sex. Black Bear Pictures already picked this up. Olivia Wilde, Cooper Hoffman, Mason Gooding from the Scream franchise, and Charlie XCX. We're going to be talking about her on a few movies on this video, which I didn't realize, but she's about to have herself a 2026, not just in music either. When a fresh-faced Elliot, I assume that's Cooper Hoffman, lands an exciting job for a renowned artist, icon, and provocateur, Erica, his fantasies come true as Erica taps him to become her sexual muse. But Elliot soon finds himself out of his depth. Yeah, no kidding. Profound, blah, 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 into a world of sex obsession, power, betrayal, and murder. I'm ready, man. 2026 is going to be hot. Like, it sounds like there's some fucking sexy shit. I'm only on like the third or fourth film I'm talking about here. But yeah, I just don't really know what the vibe and the aesthetic of this movie is going to be, but it sounded super intriguing to me based on who's involved. I'm ready. Charlie XCX, man, she's winning. Paper Tiger is another one that doesn't have a release date yet. This stars Scarlett Johansson, and Miles Teller and Adam Driver play brothers. It's a crime thriller, like a heist movie. Two brothers pursue the American dream, but get entangled in a dangerous Russian mafia scheme that terrorizes their family, or testing their bond as betrayal becomes possible. So they might be like a double cross situation for brothers. Miles Teller and Adam Driver, always top notch, and I love ScarJo. I don't know if she's the part of their family or if she's one of the women that they end up having an affair with or something. I don't know what any of this shit means, which is why it's got the red slate on it. But I can't wait to read more about it. I'm excited for this one. At the Sea. This is the first movie that I'm talking about that I think has literal, like I could see it materializing, awards buzz. Main reason is because it stars Amy Adams, as you can see. It also has Murray Bartlett and Chloe East, which I loved in Heretic last year with Sophie Thatcher and Hugh Grant. But then it's got Jenny Slate, Rainn Wilson, and Dan Levy. But it's being categorized as a drama about addiction, I believe. Because I remember talking about this one a little bit last year with some folks I had on the show, because I had it as on your radar for the Oscars this year. And of course, it hasn't come out yet. But the Amy Adams piece is interesting because she's going to be getting another Oscar nomination literally any day now. I could just see it happening for her. I thought it might happen for Night Bitch because I was one of the few people that defended that movie. I love that film, but it didn't, of course. So could it be this one? After a long rehabilitation, Laura returns to her family at the beach holiday home, where she has to readjust to the complicated life that she left behind. Now she is forced to face the next chapter of her life without the career that gave her the fame and fortune, and most importantly, her identity. So I think she was either a singer or an actress, somebody in entertainment that was very famous, and her addiction kind of like, she had a fall from grace because of her addiction to drugs and alcohol, I think, is what I've read in some articles. Sounds juicy. It sounds very like what Saoirse Ronan did in the Outrun kind of story, maybe without the fame component, which is going to speak to people in the industry. Also, this director, Cornel Mundrusco, I hope I'm saying that right, directed Vanessa Kirby in her Oscar-nominated role in Pieces of a Woman. So he's been around Oscar-worthy performances from leading women in very recent years. Her Private Hell is another one in the red. Nicholas Winding Refn, who I loved from Drive, the Ryan Gosling film, it says it's an edgy, hypnotic, and unhinged thriller based on the original story that promises lots of glitter, sex, and violence. What did I tell you guys about 2026? I told you this shit is going to get hot. So glitter, sex, and violence is in the description, and it stars Sophie Thatcher and Charles Melton. Like, that's borderline pornography to me. Like, I'm ready. The Social Reckoning is the first one as we cross over into the yellow tier. Remember, these are the ones that are high priority for me that I will be seeing as soon as possible. Comes out on October 9th. Obviously, you guys have heard a lot about this one. I was kind of checked out on it when I found out Aaron Sorkin's still involved, but he's directing this time in addition to whatever else. I don't know if he wrote the screenplay, but he's directing it versus David Fincher, who directed The Social Network, right? And also Jesse Eisenberg is not returning for the role of Mark Zuckerberg. I believe that's going to be Jeremy Allen White in this iteration, I think. So I was like, if you had Fincher and Eisenberg, or maybe even Garfield, then I'm like, this is my number one of the year. Like, I can't fucking wait, you know? But when I heard that, I was just kind of like, I mean, what? No, I'm good. But I don't know if they did this for me specifically, but they cast Mikey Madison in the lead role. So I forget. Everything else is forgiven. I'm ready. Mikey Madison, Jeremy Strong, Wunmi Mosaku, who is astounding everybody this year, probably going to be an Oscar nominee for Sinners. She's in it. So I'm excited. I mean, Mikey Madison did it for me, guys. Well done, Columbia Pictures. The big break is the new a comedy musical being directed by Jesse Eisenberg. He's also in it. It stars Julianne Moore, Paul Giamatti, and Haley Bailey, of course, the Little Mermaid. I love her from The Color Purple and stuff. A shy woman is unexpectedly cast in a local production of an original musical. Under the spell of the strong-willed and enigmatic director, she loses herself in the role and the high-stakes world of this community theater production. So it sounds like it's going to be kind of like have an indie, low-budget feel. A24 is doing it, so it's going to be that Artur vision. I loved A Real Pain. Eisenberg was really successful from the director's chair with that movie, and his screenplay was great too. I think he's writing this one also, or wrote it. It's currently being shot right now. It's probably going to come out in the fall or winter of next year. This one also has some love on the awards potential meter. Being a musical, depending on how much he leans into that comedy part, if it doesn't go too comedy, and it stays more in the musical lane with hints of comedy, like your Wickeds or whatever, where it's fun, but it's not like slapstick, then it could be a big awards player. Because they loved A Real Pain, and there's a lot of big players in this, like Giamatti, Julianne Moore, Thanksgiving week, November 26th. And it is the Narnia film that Greta Gerwig is doing, which is going to be based on a book that has never been adapted before, taking place in the fantastical world of Narnia, plot to be announced. So we don't really have a lot of information yet, but look at the cast, guys. I mean, of course, Greta Gerwig in the director's chair, but you got David McKenna, Emma Mackey, Carey Mulligan, one of my faves, and Daniel Craig. Let's fucking go, dude. It's probably going to be in the running for visual effects, costumes, production design. I mean, you know, it's probably going to be this year's Wicked, honestly, because it's going to just like, you know, it's going to be a mix of like the Wicked fantasy vibes, Lord of the Rings vibes, Barbie vibes. Like, I feel all this shit kind of coming together. Oh my God, I can't wait. February 27th, so one that's coming out pretty soon, about a month from now, is the horror iteration in the Scream franchise, Scream 7. The reason that it's in my 50 most anticipated, normally it would just be like, yeah, I'm going to check it out, but I'm not like dying to see it. Even though if you guys see any of my stuff behind me, Ghostface and Scream is probably my favorite overall franchise, along with Michael Myers and Halloween. So, I mean, I am excited for it. But this one I'm extra excited because Neve Campbell is returning after not being in Scream 6 and all the disputes that came along with that, and, you know, the mess with Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, which I'm still pissed at Spyglass for that whole thing, and I wish those women had gotten their due, or maybe they did and we just don't know. But yeah, it's just a bummer. But, you know, if I take all that noise and news out of the situation and I just think about the movie, I love the Scream franchise, and with Neve Campbell coming back, I'm definitely excited for it. Tony, how about this one? Another one in my yellow zone because I'm getting there with this one. This is another one that I also believe does have awards potential. It stars Dominic Sessa, who gained notoriety for The Holdovers a couple years ago. Some people thought maybe he would receive a nomination for that, but he didn't. Amelia Jones, who was in the Oscar-winning Coda, is in the film, and Antonio Banderas, also no stranger to the Academy. It's a biopic from A24 that covers Anthony Bourdain, and it's a biopic about his life and kind of what he went through in the summer of '76, which catapulted him to his fame, essentially. And I'm assuming Sessa plays Anthony Bourdain, a young Anthony Bourdain in the '70s. period piece, so you're going to have a lot of components in play for the Academy. Keep this one on your radar, guys, for Oscar potential. That doesn't have a release date yet. I think it's currently shooting, so that part does scare me a little bit because obviously you got to get it done and get it out before the end of the year. Deep Cuts is another hot, sexy one. It's a love story about two music-obsessed 20-somethings navigating the messy realities of ambition, belonging, and adulthood over the course of an era-defining decade. And I think that era-defining decade is the early 2000s. So I think this is a aughts, like 2000 to 2009 is what it means by the decade. So Kaylee Spaney and Drew Starkey from Queer with Daniel Craig last year, and I love Kaylee Spaney. Alien Romulus, Priscilla, she was just in Wake Up Dead Man. Love her. She's absolutely one of my favorites. Civil War, I love her. God, I love her filmography. So I'm into this one. And if they're making out in it and all that kind of stuff, sure, I'm ready. Yeah, why not? Ebenezer is a weird one. This one has a date already, November 13th from Paramount. It is a holiday horror film directed by Ty West, who did the Pearl Maxine trilogy recently. But it stars Johnny Depp and Andrea Riseborough, Tremel Tillman from Severance. Then you've got veterans like Rupert Grint and Ian McKellen in here. This is a Christmas Carol adaptation from Ty West. The Johnny Depp casting is strange to me. I don't really know how I feel about that. But it just says Ebenezer Scrooge embarks on a supernatural journey to face his past, present, future, fight for a second chance, blah, blah, blah. So it's basically a Christmas Carol, but it's going to be a horror iteration from Ty West. That part makes me very excited. Clara and the Sun is another one that I'm going to put as having some awards possibilities in the zeitgeist for it. Clara, an artificial friend designed to prevent loneliness, is purchased by a mother and her bright teen daughter, Josie, who suffers from a mysterious illness. She adores the new robot companion. On a quest to save Josie and those who love her from heartbreak, Clara learns the real power of human love. It's directed by Taika Waititi, which has been in the discussion before, and I always kind of feel like he has a bit of prestige kind of around him, whether it's writing or directing. But then I saw, Next Goal Wins, and I kept predicting that movie to be in the awards discussion because of him and people in it. And then I saw it, and I was like, what the hell was that? I mean, it didn't even look like a film of his, to be honest. And it was delayed or whatever else. So I'm kind of skeevy on the whole thing. But right now, I do think it has possibility because Amy Adams is in there again. We're talking about her. Jenna Ortega, Steve Buscemi, Natasha Lyonne, Mia Tharea. So it's got a great cast. And I know this is I think it's based on a very, very popular novel. But I think filming has wrapped on it. Clara and the Sun. Let's check it out. Wuthering Heights. Dude, I told you. 2026 is the year of like steamy, like soft porn, hot, like popcorn bucket on your lap or pillow or something while you're in the theater. Like that's what's happening this year. I can already tell you. Is that just me? It's just me. This one's Emerald Fennell. You know, probably my top 3, definitely top 5 active filmmakers. I absolutely will die on any hill that Emerald Fennell, if she directs a biopic about, you know, the old dude that lives up the street from me, like I'm going to be there like, campaigning for that film. A passionate and tumultuous love story set against the backdrop of the Yorkshire Moors, exploring the intense and destructive relationship between Heathcliff and Catherine Earnshaw. God, I can't wait. Saltburn deserve better from you guys. You guys are fucking crazy. That movie rules. Still in the yellow here, The Moment. I think there's 2 movies coming out next weekend that are on this list. So I wanted to include them because I'm very excited for them. They're probably the ones I'm going to be seeing in the next week, probably. The Moment, Charlie XCX. It's like a concert film, like mockumentary style, docufiction. I took my daughter to see this tour, the Brat Tour, last summer in Nashville, Tennessee. It was the closest city playing near us, and for her birthday, I took her to the concert. I knew a few songs of Charlie's, and I was a fan of her on like social media and stuff, and I love her Letterboxd, by the way. Dude, #goals. So I guess they were filming it while she was on tour, which is kind of cool, but it's also got Alexander Skarsgård, Rosanna Arquette, and Rachel Sennett, who is another one of my queens. Yes, I have a lot of queens. It's okay. I'm allowed to, okay? Just trust me on this. But I fucking love her. They Follow is the sequel from Neon, which gives me hope, to It Follows. No plot analysis has really been released yet, but we know Micah Monroe is going to be in it, and Keir Gilchrist is returning as well, the young boy that was in the first one. It's crazy that it's been 11 years, almost 12 years since the first one came out. But that was a very groundbreaking horror film, thriller that kind of incorporated like, you know, the trope of like, don't have sex before marriage. Teens shouldn't do drugs. They shouldn't have sex. You know, if you do, a horror person's going to kill you. And this took that like kind of cheesy trope and made it like a really interesting premise. Loved it. Great imagery. Same director They Follow is probably going to be a fall release if I had to guess. Onslaught, speaking of horror, when I was looking through my stuff, this is an A24 horror film directed by Adam Wingard, who I love. So Adam Wingard, aside from the King Kong stuff, is really, I mean, he's dove into horror before. He did The Guest with Dan Stevens. It was more of a thriller, but that was really good. I dug that one. He did his horror called You're Next, like 10 years ago or so. That was a freaking awesome underseen horror film if you want to check that one out. And he also did the Blair Witch, like iteration of the Blair Witch, which was not that great. But as he's gone on in his career, he's done a lot better. Adria Aronia is got to be the hottest woman I've ever seen in my life. But she's in this. And I already talked about Dan Stevens, Rebecca Hall, Drew Starkey again, showing up in here. It says a mother living in a trailer park tries to protect her loved ones from a threat that has escaped from a secret military base while mercenaries try to contain it. So it sounds like a creature feature called Onslaught. Yeah, we haven't crossed over to the green yet. It's got to be coming up, though. So this is the film. It's called De Noche, or De Noche. Sorry, I don't know. De Noche, maybe. Of night, maybe. My Spanish is like immaculate. Am I right? But this was the one where Joaquin Phoenix is signed on as the Todd Haynes directed film. Of course, directed May December, Carol, great filmmaker, Dark Waters. But this movie, Joaquin Phoenix is signed on to do this gay romance directed by Todd Haynes, and then he dropped out after the film had started production. I don't know if you guys remember that last year. It was a big story, and Joaquin was kind of getting canceled for a minute in the public eye. That was this film. They recast his role with Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal still, and Danny Ramirez, who's still in it, was the one that was already opposite Joaquin. So I'm excited to see this one because this one also screams award season to me. It sounds like it's kind of like what we got with Queer last year, but it takes place in the 1930s LA, and these two men have their, I don't know if it's forbidden necessarily because it doesn't really say in the title or in the description, but they have this romance in Mexico in the 1930s, which, you know, it could have been seen as taboo back then, I guess. But yeah, Todd Haynes has already like been in the discussion every year, a little bit here, a little bit there, and I think he's going to eventually get his moment. It could be with this film, and if it's like that kind of queer component that we got, but not as like abstract and crazy as Luca did it with that film, it might speak a little bit more to some of the awards bodies, but I'm really excited to check this thing out. How about The Invite? This one's in the yellow because I don't really fucking know how this is going to be. Because it's got Olivia Wilde, Seth Rogen, Edward Norton, Penelope Cruz. Love it. The cast can hardly do better than that. It's directed by Olivia Wilde. I tend to really like films that she directs, even though some of them have been, you know, critically shit on as of late. But I like her as a director. I like her vision. And you got to wonder when this was filmed, too, because she was a guest star in The Studio with Seth Rogen. I wonder if that was all going on at the same time. It's cool to kind of see how all that connects in different projects they're in together. Joe and Angela are on thin ice, and tonight might be when it all falls apart. Unfortunately, their upstairs neighbors are about to arrive for dinner, and everything that can go wrong goes worse. So I don't know. It sounds like a chamber piece with these two couples. 4 people, all actors that I love, so I wonder who's married to who. Who do you think Penelope Cruz would be more likely to be married to, Seth Rogen or Edward Norton? Let me know down below. Next is How to Rob a Bank. This is David Leitch, great filmmaker. He just did Bullet Train with Brad Pitt last year. Nicholas Hoult, Zoe Kravitz, Pete Davidson, and John C. Reilly. So a very interesting cast. It's an MGM, so Amazon, I don't know what to think there, but it's a crime thriller action movie. Obviously sounds like a heist deal because it says How to Rob a Bank, which is the title of the film. Bank robbers are posting their heists on social media, causing the police to chase them. So I like the modernization there. It's not just your typical bank robbers or heist film. They're going to incorporate this little like TikTok era to it. So I like that. I like that. See how it plays out, how it's filmed. It might be quick editing and shit like that. I have it on the list I have the meter kind of rising a little bit for this one as a possibility, even though David Leitch is not really an Academy magnet, but you know, some text or stuff like that, perhaps. Wild Horse 9 is another one that I thought would be in this year's awards discussion. And I got to tell you, thank God it wasn't, because Searchlight apparently didn't care that they had any movies come out this year that were awards players. Jesus Christ, Amanda Seyfried, I'm so sorry for you. Set in Santiago, Chile in 1973, the film follows CIA operatives Chris and Lee, whose trust in one another is tested to its limits on a trip to Easter Island. Look at that cast, guys. Parker Posey, Sam Rockwell, John Malkovich, Tom Waits, of course, Steve Buscemi, and Martin McDonough, who, you know, Banshees of Inisherin. He's got me forever, man. Wild Horse 9, Searchlight. Please do better by this one. Please. No release date yet, but I think it's an Oscar player when it does come out. Let's go. Michael is towards the end of my yellow tier here. I'm excited for this one. I'm also extremely worried for this one because of the reshoots, the legal battles that the movie went through. They had to like redo the whole ending. They couldn't mention certain characters. They had to like rename them and like, so it could be messy and chopped up by the time we see it. I hope that's not the case. It's going to make a gazillion dollars at the box office. This might actually break the record as the #1 music biopic ever released in theaters. I don't know, what would that be right now? Bohemian Rhapsody, maybe? I'm not sure what the #1 music biopic box office-wise is right now. I'm probably forgetting it off the top of my head, but this is going to be it when after it comes out, so it doesn't really matter. Supergirl, okay, sure. That's kind of where I'm at with this. I mean, do you need me to say anything else about this? No, you don't. Coyote versus Acme is the one that WB Animation, and they had the whole battle, and it wasn't going to be released, and it got bought, now it's being released, and yeah, here we go. I'm excited. If for no other reason, because we can throw a big middle finger to the people that try to keep this one away from us. You know, Will Forte, John Cena, Luis Guzman, many more. Yeah, let's do it. I'm glad this thing's finally seeing the light of day. The chaperones I kept in the yellow. It's A24. I am very excited for it. Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, two that just teamed up this year in The Long Walk, are back together. And then you have some powerhouses here, Daniel Deadweiler, Alfred Molina, and Paul Dano. Yeah, I mean, it should be great, right? I just don't know. It's being categorized as a drama, but it sounds kind of comedy-esque. 3 slacker friends are hired to transport a troubled teen across the country. So Cooper Hoffman, maybe, is a troubled teen? I'm not sure. I'm really excited for it, though. Sounds like a found family movie that's going to be nominated for something. We don't have a lot of information yet on Terrifier 4, the 4th installment in Damien Leone's horror series, but I love the character. I love the brutal kills in this franchise. Lauren Lavera emerged as one of the greatest final girls of all time in the sequel, and yeah, I'm ready. I mean, you know, this one I've heard it's in space. I've heard it's on Halloween night. You know, all it says is that the Art the Clown's origins will be explored, which does lead me to believe they're going to lean into the space thing. So it's like a Jason X, but with Art the Clown. So it's going to be really fucking stupid. It's not going to make any sense. It's going to be over the top. And based on the editing of the first 3, it's going to be too long. But I'm still excited for it. Let's check it out. The drama, we've got a trailer for this one already. A24, April 3rd. It's Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. A happily engaged couple is put to the test when an unexpected turn sends their wedding week off the rails. Looks good. The trailer will look good too. And I love how A24 is kind of toying with us a little bit, like, oh, is this going to be like a cute wedding romantic comedy, or is this going to be like a horror movie? Like, we don't really know what we're getting with this, which is also what excites me about it. It's very similar to kind of like what they did with Materialist, because like, I love Celine Song, so I was going to be there no matter what, but like Materialist had that like rom-com feel in the trailers and the way they were kind of promoting it. And it did have those elements, but when you saw it, it was so much more. It was much more layered and much more dramatic than I really expected from the trailers and stuff. So I don't really know what to get with this, but these actors are the best, and you could see, as you can see, awards potential here for these guys too. Guys, we're crossing over to the green. And we're starting with my #1 most anticipated movie of the year right here, The Odyssey from Christopher Nolan. Everybody's talked about it. I actually myself did a trailer reaction for it when the trailer came out. You know, Christopher Nolan owns July at the movie theater, so he's releasing it on July 17th. I'm ready. I mean, I don't have a whole lot else to add to this that I haven't already on this channel and that other people have said, but a stacked fucking cast. Zendaya again, Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Lupita Nyong'o, which has not been getting enough mentions when you talk about The Odyssey. I'm really excited to see what she does. Mia Goth, one of my queens, another one, is in there. So yeah, let's go. I mean, if anybody's going to take on The Odyssey, it's got to be Christopher Nolan. I can't wait to see what he did with it. Speaking of Odysseys, Dune. Man, I don't know how they're going to adapt Dune Messiah, which I'm assuming is what Dune Part 3 is going to be, even though they haven't thrown that tag on the title yet. But yeah, I mean, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, again, 3 movies in a row with her in it. If you guys know the cast, you know Denis Villeneuve, who should have gold for this franchise. So I don't know if this will be the movie that puts him in that discussion. I've got it definitely being on your watch, December 18th release. This has got to be good. The first 2 were great. It's got to be good. I can't wait to see this thing. The Adventures of Cliff Booth. We're talking about David Fincher a minute ago. So he's not directing the Social Network spinoff or sequel, but he's directing a Tarantino script as a sequel from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I remember they broke this news on April 1st, and I immediately was like, well, that's an April Fool's joke. I mean, I was like, there's no way that would happen. That doesn't even make any sense. And it still doesn't, but it's happening. 8 years after the events of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Cliff Booth navigates the studio system in his new role as a fixer. I mean, look, I don't doubt it's going to be great. You know, I don't like the Netflix thing. And is it going to be in theaters? That whole thing has me really skeeved out as a movie fan, but whatever. Brad Pitt's obviously coming back as Cliff Booth. You also have Elizabeth Debicki and Scott Conn. I am excited for this one, cautiously excited. So I will be there on day 1. I just hope it's not on my couch, and I hope it's in a movie theater. How about Werewolf? How do you say that? Werewolf. I don't know how to say it. It's the new Robert Eggers. He just did Nosferatu, so I guess he's just doing this now. Just like iconic, horror creatures, I guess. I don't know, what's next? Maybe we'll get like a Black Lagoon, creature from the Black Lagoon or something next from him. I don't know, but I'm here for it. I'm ready. It also has Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, and Lily Rose Depp, all of which he worked with in Nosferatu. So that's probably going to bring a nice collaboration between them. Christmas Day release. Nosferatu was a tech player for him. He got 4 below-the-line technical nominations. And I think this one could get more. If it's the Nosferatu feel and there's an element of prestige added to it with the way it's told, and it's not so much more the Northman, but it's a little more Nosferatu, Gothic style, we could be onto something. But it just says 13th century England, local villagers who are stalked by a mysterious creature. As the attacks continue, ancient folklore and superstition bleed into a terrifying reality that will be a historical take on the werewolf mythos. Robert Eggers doesn't just make a werewolf movie. He researches it for literally half of his life and bases it on books that came out 1,000 years ago. Guys, forget about it. The green, as you guys know, is day 1. This is day fucking negative 50. I'll be camped out 50 days in advance. In fact, when is that? April 24th? Check the calendar on that. I cannot fucking wait to see this. I love David Lowery as a filmmaker, including A Ghost Story, by the way. But Anne Hathaway and Hunter Schafer, who I'm fucking in love with from Euphoria. She was also in Cuckoo last year, the horror movie with Dan Stevens. Long buried wounds rise to the surface when iconic pop star Mother Mary, what a fucking great name for a pop star, I assume that's Anne Hathaway, reunites with her estranged best friend and former costume designer Sam on the eve of her comeback performance. I don't know what Hunter Schafer plays in this movie, but I can't wait to see it. And Michaela Cole is Sam, the designer, who's also great. And yeah, dude, we have a trailer for this too, by the way. Go check it out. It looks fucking bonkers. A24 is all over. This one I had as a possible awards contender this year when I thought it was coming out this year, or 25. But with the April release date and the horror tag being put on it recently, I don't feel as good about it, but I still do have it as a possibility. But nonetheless, I can't fucking wait for this thing. Disclosure Day, another one that I don't really have to say a lot about, but yes, I'm fucking pumped for this. It's a Spielberg film, first of all. That's all you need, really. That's all I need. But he's going back to sci-fi. Josh O'Connor, who is having the fucking time of his life in film right now. I mean, everything the dude's in, he's killing it. We have Coleman Domingo again in here. Emily Blunt, who is in the trailer. Yeah, it's a sci-fi thriller with aliens. The Bride. Am I supposed to scream it? We just got an updated trailer for this one, actually, as I'm recording yesterday. But Jessie Buckley, who's probably going to be an Oscar winner by the time, well, no, it'll be a week after this movie comes out, because the movie comes out on March 6th. The Oscars are the 15th. So she's going to have a pretty good March, I would imagine. A lonely Frankenstein travels to 1930 Chicago to ask groundbreaking scientist Dr. Euphronius to create a companion for him. The two revive a murdered young woman, and the bride is born. But what ensues is beyond what either of them imagined. Jessie Buckley looks like she's fucking ready to get another Oscar before she even wins the first one for Hamnet. I mean, this looks good, really good. Maggie Gyllenhaal, I'm glad they decided to release it after Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, because these are obviously 2 different movies. I've heard this one might be a musical, like Joker, Folie à Deux kind of shit. Hopefully a lot better than that movie was, oh Jesus. But yeah, Buckley, Skarsgård, Gyllenhaal's brother Jay, Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz is also in this one. She's got a couple good movies this year. So I'm ready. Let's do it. The Bride with an exclamation point. Godzilla -0. We have basically zero information on this one, but Godzilla -1 was in my top 5 or 3 of the year that it came out. Absolutely loved it. November 6th, we're getting the direct follow-up to that one. Same filmmaker. We don't even know who the cast is yet. International film, obviously going to be Japanese. Can't wait. I fucking love that first movie. Let's go. Heat, is it going to come out this year? That's the question. But this is going to cover the years from 88 to 2000. So essentially like kind of a prequel. Leo, as confirmed in an interview, I believe that he's in it. Adam Driver, Austin Butler, and Christian Bale. We've also heard rumors that Bradley Cooper and Ana de Armas are also in the cast. I don't know if production has begun on it or not yet. I think so, though, because I saw some pics of Austin Butler doing some stuff on set, I think. Yeah, I mean, are they going to get the Val Kilmer role right? I'm worried about that, but the Michael Mann, the first Heat, is one of the greatest action movies of all time. So if this is even half as good as that one, it's going to be great. I'm going to love to see Michael Mann doing another Heat movie. Listen to this. So Polaris, the only description that we have, in 1890s Alaska, an ice photographer meets the devil. It stars Rooney Mara and Joaquin Phoenix, and it's directed by Lynn Ramsey. That sounds like the most fucking mind-fuck movie of all time. I can't fucking wait. Reptilia. Now we're getting to the weird shit, but as you notice, it's all in my green. I can't wait to see any of this shit. Mikey Madison again, and Kirsten Dunst, who, by the way, is my wife's doppelganger. So basically, Mikey Madison and my wife are in a movie together this year as mermaids. All right. I mean, what am I can't believe it's my number one, actually. I hope my wife doesn't watch this video. A dental hygienist is seduced by a mysterious mermaid into the dark and wet underworld of Florida's exotic animal trade. Another sexy movie. Can't go wrong with sexy mermaids. And you really can't go wrong with them if they're played by Mikey Madison. How about Scandalous? This is a biopic that, if it comes out in 2026, will be plastered all over the Academy Awards. Thank God, because not only does Coleman Domingo have a small part in the movie, I believe, but he's the director. It's his directorial debut, and he is a huge fan of Sammy Davis Jr., and it's a biopic about him and his career, but also about his love affair with film star at the time, Kim Novak. Is being played by bombshell herself, Sydney Sweeney. And guess who's playing Sammy Davis Jr.? David Johnson. What have I been saying on this channel for the last year and a half is that David Johnson is destined to be nominated for an Academy Award. The dude is phenomenal in everything I see him in. And he's playing Sammy Davis Jr. in a biopic directed by a dude that the Academy already has rained down praise and love on, Coleman Domingo. This thing is Scandalous is all over award season, as long as it's a good film, which I anticipate it to be. I can't wait for this thing. Digger comes out on October 3rd. Another one that everybody on these lists has probably been talking about. Tom Cruise, Sandra Hüller, Jesse Plemons, Alejandro Inarritu. Another one that I think is going to be a big awards player, depending on the comedy part. But I also love the inclusion of Jesse Plemons, John Goodman, and Riz Ahmed in the cast too. You know, this one is, we have very little to go on. There was a 30-second teaser that came out last week. Tom Cruise dancing in a basement or something. I mean, we have no information on this. So I love when movies are ambiguous and just weird. And that's what this screams to me. But based on the people involved, Tom Cruise specifically, can we finally get him another dramatic Oscar nomination? Please, it's been way too long. We know he likes jumping off cliffs and buildings and planes and shit, but let's get him an Academy Award, please. And I'm not just talking about the honorary one. That was cool, but come on. Definitely one that I thought was coming out in 2025, and I had all over my actual Oscar predictions for a couple months until I realized it was not going to. Black Bear finally picked up The Rivals of Uzziah King, starring Matthew McConaughey and newcomer Angelina Lookingglass. I do think this is going to be a huge awards player, even with the August release date. It's already been seen by actually friends of mine. I just never have, so that's why it's on this list. It comes out in August, I can't wait. Kurt Russell, I think Angelina Lookingglass could be a supporting actress candidate, depending on how the year shakes out there. And I've heard nothing but great things about it from friends of mine that have seen it. So yeah, it's highly anticipated for me. It is a day one release for me for sure. Probably the next movie that I'm actually going to see, and that's next weekend, Send Help, with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, who's really been impressing me lately. It's also directed by Sam Raimi, who is a horror legend. And you've probably seen the trailers for this one. Like I said, it just comes out in a week, but it's basically a thriller or horror where these two folks get stranded on a deserted island, and Rachel McAdams was the quiet little office secretary, and Dylan O'Brien was her boss and was very mean to her. And then when they end up on this deserted island together, she kind of takes over. She's the boss and kind of seeks out revenge for kind of the way he treated her in their real lives. So it just sounds like a really cool kind of almost like a home invasion film, but on a deserted island. Flowerville Street, a family in the 80s start to notice bizarre happenings in their neighborhood. It's rumored to be a time travel film involving dinosaurs. What do you think, guys? Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor, Maisie Stella, who I loved in My Old Ass last year. Yeah. Another August release date. In fact, the same day as Uzziah King, but it's Warner Brothers. They must have faith in it. Anything with dinosaurs new, that's not the Jurassic Park formula, I'm all about it. I actually liked 65 with Adam Driver too a couple years ago. People were like, why'd you like that? I don't know, I like something new and fresh when it comes to the dinosaur plot device. Hokum might be the horror movie that I'm most excited for, even though it's not high on my list, but just because I have no fucking idea what we're getting into. I don't. And I love that. It just really does something for me. They released a teaser for it. It's 40 seconds. There's nothing. It's just Adam Scott laying in a bed, this weird shot of a dude wearing a Donnie Darko mask, and that's it. You're just what? So it says a horror novelist, which I assume is Scott, visits a remote Irish inn to spread his parents' ashes, unaware the place is rumored to be haunted by a witch. And it's called Hokum. Yeah, May 1st. Can't wait. Day one, I'll be there. Speaking of horror, Ready or Not, Here I Come. The sequel, yeah, dude. So not only does it have Samara Weaving, and it's directed by Radio Silence, who I love, did the first one, and some Scream films, but it's got Catherine Newton and Sarah Michelle Gellar. And also, I love the take on this, because you would think, how do you do a sequel to Ready or Not? Well, it turns out the whole thing was like a production, basically. So listen to this. Moments after surviving the all-out attack from the Ladamas family, Grace, Samara Weaving, discovers she's reached the next level in this nightmare game. And this time with her estranged sister, Faith, Catherine Newton. Grace has one chance to survive, keep her sister alive, and claim the high seat of the council that controls this world. 4 rival families are hunting her, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, dude, it sounds a little bit like Squid Game meets the first Ready or Not, and it has 2 hot blondes that I'm absolutely in love with, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, so make that 3. Yeah, day 1, guys, day 1. And I kept Toy Story 5 on here. I'm very excited for this one, if for no other reason because my son has recently, my 6-year-old, we've been binging Pixar. We've been watching all the Pixar movies. And we just did all 4 of the Toy Stories and all the shorts that you can watch on Disney+. There's like at least 10 of them. So we've been watching a ton of Toy Story right now, and my son is super into it. Like, he's like 10 years late on buying the Woody and Buzz dolls and stuff, but he's into all that shit. So I cannot wait to see this with him on the big screen. They also added voice casts like Conan O'Brien, Craig Robinson. Like, those are new additions to the cast. Greta Lee's in there. It's not, and I love that iPad is the villain in this iteration too, because that's true. Or screens in general. Trust me, guys, that's true. And then last but not least is the Dog Stars, although I do have it in my green. It's another Ridley Scott film, but it stars Jacob Elordi, Margaret Qualley, Josh Brolin, Guy Pearce, and Benedict Wong. It's also a sci-fi futuristic story. It says after the world's population has been ravaged by a pandemic, a man lives a lonesome existence in Colorado with his dog. When a mysterious transmission comes through on the radio while he's flying his old Cessna, it sparks a hunt for the provenance of the sound. Who made the sound? Where'd it come from? So an alien story, perhaps? Maybe Margaret Qualley's the alien? Man, she'd be a hot alien, right? I'm sorry I was so thirsty on this video. But, right? I mean, 2026 sounds like it's going to be full of sex. I'm into it, you know? Sure. I mean, why not? All right, guys, so that's 50 titles that I'm excited for 2026. Let me know down below, what are you most excited for? What did I not list? I didn't put everything on here. Believe me, there's a lot more, but I've been seeing a lot of people shout out stuff, so I want to do some new ones. The Big 2-6, what are you looking forward to? Let me know down below. I will see you guys out here very soon. A ton. It's Oscars week, so I had to squeeze this in because I'm going to be doing anything else but talking about Oscars. I'll see you out here then in the garage.